Animals accumulate ammonia, urea, uric acid, carbon dioxide, water, and iron like sodium, potassium, chlorine, phosphate, sulfate, etc. either by metabolic activities or by other means like excess ingestion. These substances have to be removed totally or partially. In learn mechanism of elimination of these substances with special emphasis on the common nitrogenous waste. Ammonia, urea, uric acid are the major forms of nitrogenous waste excreted by animals. Ammonia is the most toxic form and requires large amount of water for its elimination, whereas uric acid, being the least toxic, can be removed with minimum loss of water. The process of excreting ammonia is ammonotalism. Many bony fishes, aquatic amphibians, and aquatic insects are ammonotelic in nature. Ammonia, as it is readily soluble, is generally excreted by diffusion across body surface or through gill surface in fish as ammonium ions. Kidney do not play any significant role in its removal. Terrestrial adaptation necessitates the production of lesser toxic nitrogenous waste like urea or uric acid for conservation of water. Mammals, many terrestrial amphibians, and marine fishes mainly excreted urea and are called ureotelic animals. Ammonia produced by metabolism is converted into urea in the liver of these animals and released into blood, which is filtered and excreted out by the kidneys. Some amounts of urea may be retained in the kidney matrix of some of these animals to maintain the desired osmolality. Reptiles, birds, land snail, and insects excrete nitrogenous waste as uric acid in the form of pellet or paste with the minimum loss of water and are called ureotelic animals. A survey of animal kingdom presents a variety of accessory structure. In most of the invertebrates, these structures are simple tubular forms, whereas the vertebrates have complex tubular organs called kidneys. Some of these structures are mentioned here. Protonephrida or flame cells are excreted. The excretory structure in Platyhelminthes, flatworm, Planaria, flatworm, rotifers, some annelids, and cephalochordates, Amphioxus. Protonephridia are primarily concerned with the ionic and fluid volume regulation, that is, osmoregulation. Nephridia are tubular excretory structure of earthworm and other annelids. Nephridia helps to remove nitrogen wastage and maintain a fluid and ionic balance. Malpighian tubule are respiratory structure of the most insects, including cockroach. Malpighian tubule helps in removal of nitrogenous waste and osmoregulation. Antennal glands or green glands perform the excretory function in crustacean-like forms. Human excretory system. In human, excretory system consists of a pair of kidney, one pair of uterus, a urinary bladder, and a urethra. Kidney are reddish brown bean-shaped structures situated between the level of last thoracic and third lumbar vertebra, close to the dorsal inner wall of the abdominal cavity. Each kidney of an adult human measures 10 to 12 cm in length, 5 to 7 cm width, 2 to 3 cm in thickness, with an average weight of 120 to 170 grams. Towards the center of the inner concave surface of the kidney is a notch called ileum, through which ureter, blood vessels, and nerves enter. Inner to the ileum is a broad funnel-shaped space called the adrenal pelvis, with projection called calyces. The outer layer of kidney is a tough capsule. Inside the kidney there are two zones, an outer cortex and an inner medulla. The medulla is divided into a few conical masses, medullary pyramids, projecting into the calyces. calyx. The cortex extended in between the medullary pyramids as renal column called column of Bartini. Each kidney has nearly 1 million complex tubular structures called nephrons, which are the functional units. Each nephron has two parts, the glomerulus and the renal tubules. Glomerulus is stuffed of capillaries formed by the afferent arterioles, a fine branch of renal artery. Blood from the glomerulus is carried away by an afferent arterioles. The renal tubule begin with a double-walled cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, which encloses the glomerulus. Glomerulus, along with Bowman capsule, is called the Malpighian body of the renal corpuscle. The tubule continue further to form a highly coiled network proximal convoluted tubules. TCT. A heparin-shaped endless loop is the next part of the tubule which has a descending and ascending limbs. The ascending limbs continue as another highly coiled tubular region called distal convoluted tubules. DCT. The DCTs of many nephrons open into a straight tube called collecting duct, many of which converge and open into the renal pelvis through medullary pyramids is the calyx. The Malpighian corpuscle TCT and DCT of the nephron are situated in the cortical region of the kidney, whereas the loop of the hindlace dips into the medulla. In majority of the nephron, the loops of hindlace is too short and extend only very little into the medulla. Such nephrons are called cortical nephrons. In some of the nephrons, the loops of hindlace is very long and runs deep into the medulla. These nephrons are called juxtamedullary nephrons. The afferent arterioles emerge from the glomerulus, form a fine capillary network around the renal tubules called the peritubular capillaries. A minute vessel of this network runs parallel to the hindlace loop, forming a U-shaped vasa recta. Vasa recta is absent or highly reduced in cortical nephrons. Urine formation involves three main processes, namely glomerular filtration, reabsorption, and secretion, that takes place in different parts of the nephron. The first stage in the urine formation is the filtration of blood, which is carried out by glomerulus, is called glomerular filtration. On an average, 1100 to 1200 ml of blood is filtered by kidney per minute, which constitutes roughly 1/5 of the blood pumped out by each ventricle of the heart in a minute. The glomerular capillary blood pressure causes filtration of blood through three layers, that is, endothelium of glomerular blood vessel, the epithelium of Bowman's capsule, and a basement membrane between these two layers. The epithelium cells of Bowman capsule, called podocytes, are arranged in an intricate manner so as to leave some minute space called filtration slit or slit pores. Blood is filtered so finely through these membranes that almost all the constituents of the plasma except the protein pass onto the lumen of Bowman's capsule. Therefore, it is considered the process of ultrafiltration. The amount of the filtrate formed by the kidney per minute is called glomerular filtration rate, GFR. GFR is a healthy individual is approximately 125 ml per minute, that is 180 liters per day. The kidney have built-in mechanism for regulation of glomerular filtration rate. One such efficient mechanism is carried out by juxtaglomerular apparatus, GA. The GA is a special sensitive region formed by cellular modification in distal convoluted tubules and afferent arterioles at the location of their contact. A fall on GFR can activate the JG cell to release renin adrenaline, which can stimulate the glomerular blood flow and thereby the GFR back to normal. A comparison of the volume of the filtrate form per day, 180 liters per day, with that of the urine release 1.5 liters, suggests that nearly 99% of the filtrate has to be reabsorbed by the renal tubule. This process is called reabsorption. The tubular epithelial cell in different segments of nephron performs this either by active or passive mechanism. For example, substances like glucose, amino acids, sodium ion, etc. in the filtrate are absorbed actively, whereas the nitrogenous waste are absorbed by passive transport. Reabsorption of water also occurs passively in the initial segment of the nephron. During urine formation, tubular cells secrete substances like hydrogen ion, potassium ion, and ammonia into the filtrate. Tubular secretion is also an important step in urine formation as it helps in maintenance of ionic and acidic base balance of the body fluid. Function of the tubules. Proximal convoluted tubules PCT. PCT is a line by simple cuboidal raised border epithelium which increases the surface area of the reabsorption. Nearly all of the essential nutrients and 70 to 80% of the electrolytes and water are reabsorbed by this segment. DCT also helps to maintain the pH and ionic balance of the body fluid by selective secretion of hydrogen ion, ammonia and potassium ion into the filtrate and by reabsorption of bicarbonate ion from it. Handless loop. Reabsorption is minimum in its ascending limb. However, this region plays a significant role in maintenance of high osmolarity of medullary intestinal fluid. The descending limbs of the loop of Henle's is permeable to water but almost impermeable to electrolytes. This concentrates the filtrate as it moves down. The ascending limb is impermeable to water but allows transport to electrolytes actively or passively. Therefore, as the concentrated filtrate passes upward, it gets diluted due to the passage of electrolytes to the medullary fluid. Distal convoluted tubules DCT. Conditional reabsorption of sodium ion and water takes place in this segment. DCT is also capable of reabsorption of bicarbonate and selective secretion of hydrogen and potassium ion and ammonia to maintain the pH and sodium potassium balance in blood. Proximal convoluted tubules, distal convoluted tubules, descending, thick. Collecting duct. These long ducts extend from the cortex of kidney to inner parts of the medulla. Large amount of water could be reabsorbed from this region to produce concentrated urine. This segment allows passage of small amount of urea into the medullary intestine to keep up the osmolarity. It also plays a role in maintenance of pH and ionic balance of blood by selective secretion of hydrogen ion and potassium ion. Mechanism of concentration of the filtrate. Mammals have the ability to produce a concentrated urine. The Henle's loop and vasa recta play a significant role in this. The flow of filtrate in the two limbs of Henle's loop is in opposite direction and thus forms a counter current. The flow of blood through the two limbs of vasa recta is also in a counter current pattern. The proximity between the Henle's loop and vasa recta as well as the counter current in them help in maintaining and increasing osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstitium, that is from 300 osmoliter per liter in aquatics to about 1200 milliosmoliter per liter in the inner medulla. This gradient is mainly caused by sodium chloride and urea. Sodium chloride is transported by the ascending limb of Henle's loop, which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. Sodium chloride is returned to the interstitium by the ascending portion of vasa recta. Similarly, small amount of urea enters the thin segment of the ascending limb of Henle's loop, which is transported back to the interstitium by the collecting tubule. The above described transport of the substance facilitated by the special arrangement of Henle's loop and vasa recta is called the counter-current mechanism. This mechanism helps to maintain a concentrated gradient. In the medullary interstitium, presence of such interstitial gradient helps in an easy passage of water from the collecting tubules, thereby concentrating the filtrate urine. Human kidney can produce urine nearly 4 times concentrated than the initial filtrate form. Regulation of kidney function. The functioning of the kidney is efficiently monitored and regulated by the hormonal feedback mechanism involving the hypothalamus, JGA, and to a certain context the heart. Osmoreceptors in the body are activated by the change in the blood volume, body fluid volume, and ionic concentration. An excessive loss of fluid from the body can activate this receptor, which stimulates the hypothalamus to release antidiuretic hormone ADH or vasopressin from the neurohypophysis. ADH facilitates water reabsorption from the latter part of the tubule, thereby preventing diuresis. An increase in body fluid volume can switch off the osmoreceptors and suppress the ADH release to complete the feedback. ADH can also affect the kidney function by its constrictory effect on blood vessel. This causes an increase in blood pressure, and increase in blood pressure can increase the glomerular blood flow and thereby GFR. The JGA plays a complex regulatory role. A fall in glomerular blood flow or glomerular blood pressure or GFR can activate the JG cell to release renin, which convert angiotensinogen in blood to angiotensin 1 and further to angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 being a powerful vasoconstrictor increase the glomerular blood pressure and thereby GFR. Angiotensin 2 also activates the adrenal cortex to release aldosterone. Aldosterone causes reabsorption of sodium ion and water from the distal parts of the tubule. This also leads to an increase in blood pressure and GFR. This complex mechanism is generally known as the renin-angiotensin mechanism. An increase in blood flow to the atria of the heart can cause the release of atrial natriuretic factor ANF. ANF can cause vasodilation of blood vessel and thereby decrease the blood pressure. ANF mechanism therefore act as a check on the renin-angiotensin mechanism. Micturition. Urine formed by the nephron is ultimately carried to the urinary bladder, where it is stored till a voluntary signal is given by the central nervous system CNS. This signal is initiated by the stretching of urinary bladder as it gets filled with urine. In response, the stretch receptor on the wall of bladder sends signal to the CNS. The CNS passes on motor message to initiate the contraction of smooth muscle of the bladder and simultaneous relaxation of the urethral sphincter, causing the release of urine. The process of release of urine is called micturition, and the neural mechanism causing it is called the micturition reflux. An adult human excretes on an average 1 to 1.5 liter urine per day. The urine formed in a light yellow color watery fluid which is slightly acidic, pH 6.0, and has a characteristic odor. On an average 20 to 30 gram of urea is excreted out per day. Various conditions can affect the characteristics of the urine. Analysis of urine helps in clinical diagnosis of many metabolic disorders as well as malfunction of the kidney. For example, presence of glucose, glycosuria, and ketone bodies, ketonuria in urine are indicative of diabetes mellitus. Role of other organ in excretion. Other than the kidney, lungs, liver, and spleen also helps in elimination of excretory wastes. Our lungs remove large amount of carbon dioxide, approximately 200 ml per minute, and also significant quantity of water every day. Liver, the largest gland in our body, secretes bile-containing substances like bilirubin, biliverdin, cholesterol, degraded steroid hormones, vitamins, and drugs. Most of these substances ultimately pass out along with digestive wastes. The sweat and the sebaceous gland in the skin can eliminate certain substances through the secretion. Sweat produced by the sweat gland is a watery fluid containing sodium chloride, small amount of urea, lactic acid, etc. Though the primary function of sweat is to facilitate a cooling effect on the body surface, it also helps in removal of some of the waste mentioned above. Sebaceous gland eliminates certain substances like sterol, hydrocarbons, and wax through sebum. This secretion provides a protective oily covering from the skin. Do you know that small amount of nitrogenous waste could be eliminated through saliva too? Disorder of the excretory system. Malfunctioning of kidney can lead to accumulation of urea in blood, a condition called uremia, which is highly harmful and may lead to kidney failure. In such patients, urea can be removed by a process called hemodialysis. During the process of hemodialysis, the blood drained from convenient artery is pumped into a dialyzing unit called artificial kidney. Blood drained from a convenient artery is pumped into dialyzing unit after adding an anticoagulant like heparin. The unit contains a coiled cellophane tube surrounding by a dialyzing fluid having the same composition as that of plasma except the nitrogenous waste. The porous cellophane membranes of the tube allow the passage to molecule based on concentration gradient. As nitrogenous wastes are absent in the dialyzing fluid, these substances freely move out, thereby clearing the blood. The cleared blood is pumped back to the body through a vein after adding antiheparin to it. This method is a boon for thousands of uremic patients all over the world. Kidney transplantation is the ultimate method in the correction of the acute renal failure, kidney failure. A functioning kidney is used in the transplantation from a donor, preferably a close relative, to minimize its chance of rejection by the immune system of the host. Modern clinical procedures have increased the success rate of such complicated techniques. Renal calculi. Stone or insoluble mass of crystallized salt, oxalate, etc. formed within the kidney. Glomerulonephritis, inflammation of glomeruli of kidney.